Rest in peace, Milton. Okay, so up top, I know a lot of you will be here asking why I'm dropping this because the movie isn't out in America. Whenever I cover a film that has a delayed release, I normally get comments like that, so I thought I'd talk about them right up front and then we can get into the breakdown. Now, the movie is actually now out in the UK and a number of other countries, though I know some of you think I should wait until it's released in the US and are probably a sad Peacemaker right now. I am a UK based channel, so sorry, yeah, I tend to go off release dates here rather than in America. Now, for example, Green Knight is now out in the US, but it's not out over here, and if people want to do ending explains on that, then that's totally fine. Now, by that I mean I'm going to shout at them in the comments and thumbs down the video and demand that they wait until I've personally had a chance to see it. The scumbags making videos about movies. Now, I will say that Suicide Squad is an incredible film, and if you haven't seen it yet, then you really should save yourself the surprises because it's that good. You should go into this film as blind as possible, as it has some great twists as well as character deaths. From here on out, it's full spoilers ahead, and this is your last warning. Turn around, it's your last warning. Now, the film focuses on an operation on the Island of Corto Maltese, in which Task Force X are called in to destroy a tower called Jotunheim. Corto Maltese has featured in several DC properties, such as Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, as well as Batman 89. Jotunheim is a name that you might recognise from Thor, namely as being the home of the Frost Giants. The name actually pulls from Nordic mythology, and it was one of the 9 realms that was home to a wealth of giants and colossal beasts. In the film, we discover that this is actually a science lab from the Second World War, which is being used to house the telepathic alien Starro the Conqueror. Starro first appeared in The Brave and the Bold 28, and since then he's gone on to have a number of appearances in DC Comics. Most of the inspiration in this iteration seems to take influence from Grant Morrison's seminal JLA run, namely the first volume in which Starro appeared. During the comic, Starro took over a gigantic tower, and it was up to the Justice League to infiltrate it and take him down. Or it, I think it's it, I don't know the guy's gender, or woman's gender. Now, it actually managed to capture most of the members and put them under its control, but Batman saved the day using his brain, and it was really one of the first comics that showed why he was as valued as much as the other superheroes. Now, we learn that the US actually captured the creature and that they set up an alliance with the Corto Maltesians, in order to experiment on their own people. The leaders of the country put forth political opponents, journalists, and even children who were all subjected to the hive mind. DC villain The Thinker headed up this operation, and for 30 years he studied the creature and forced people to become a part of it. Now, after a military coup overthrows the current dictatorship, the country is taken over by an anti-American regime that wish to use Starro to thwart their enemies. Waller ends up putting together a new Suicide Squad to go in and take down Jotunheim, and in doing this they'll destroy all the evidence that the US participated in any of the experiments. Now, the team are led by Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba. We learn that he's in prison for putting a kryptonite bullet in Superman, and this calls back to the comics as being pretty much the only thing that he's known for. Bloodsport's daughter recently stole a watch, and because of this, Waller blackmails him by threatening to throw her in Belle Reve. It was a really nice watch, yeah, to be fair. You could watch TV on it, eh? Like watch TV, having that? Yeah, I said, are you having that? Now, this is very much to the dismay of her underlings, and we'll talk about how they play into the post-credits scene later on in the video. The other squad members include Harley Quinn, Rick Flag, Peacemaker, King Shark, Ratcatcher 2, Captain Boomerang, Polka Dot Man, Savant, Blackguard, Javelin, Mongol, Weasel, and also TDK. Now, Weasel is played by James Gunn, who also cameos as Calendar Man in this movie. Now, I hope no one is too attached to these characters, as within the first 5 minutes, most of the group end up dead after Blackguard sells them out. Captain Boomerang gets a big death early on, and Weasel apparently drowns, though we do learn in the post-credits scene that the character actually survived. Personally, I believe that he will be appearing in the Peacemaker HBO Max series, which we'll discuss as we get towards the second post-credits scene. The Suicide Squad. What is this? Scarlett Johansson's career at Disney, hey? Because you're suing Suicide Squad. Now, all this leaves is a select few, and Harley is captured by the Corto Maltese forces. Taken before the president, she's told that he wishes to marry her, as she will provide an anti-American symbol that the country can unite behind. The two spend a wonderful day together, but after he mentions sending kids to Starro, she sees it as a red flag and then kills him. Harley has come a long way since the prior movies, and after her relationship with Mr. J, she decides to end any blossoming romance as soon as a warning sign pops up, so she just stamps down on him as fast as she can. This leaves his second in command to become president, and he wants to launch Starro against Russia, the US, and also China. The group manage to catch back up with Harley after she escapes, and united with a force of freedom fighters, they capture the Thinker and head to Jotunheim. They split up into teams, with one side going to the dirty little secret lab, whilst the others plant explosives around the building. Now this is where the truth is revealed, and Rick Flag decides to expose the operation to the world. However, Peacemaker wants to keep the peace, and he knows that if this info is brought to light, it will destabilize the country. Thus he kills him, and after Ratcatcher attempts to take the data, Peacemaker catches up to her too, and he decides to execute her. Now it's during this time that we see the opposite side of the plan play out, and it's brilliant how the film constantly flips back and forth between perspectives. After detonating the explosives, Bloodsport crashes through the tower, and he ends up face to face with Peacemaker. The pair both shoot at the same time, but Bloodsport is able to have his bullet travel through Peacemaker's because he uses smaller ones. If you're watching this video without seeing the movie, then I don't know what you're doing, but the pair are constantly trying to one-up each other, and at one point Peacemaker brags about being able to shoot through Bloodsport's bullet holes without leaving a mark by using smaller bullets. Now he takes one in the throat like Ryan Aries' mom, but we learn in the post-credits scene that he survives this. Both of the two end stingers in the movie center around two characters thought to be dead, but the pair return, and that is why I think they'll both be showing up later down the line. Now if you're enjoying the video and this is your first time here, then welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I am your host Paul, aka the guy who's always got a do or die job like the Suicide Squad, and here we break down lots of TV shows and movies every single day. We'd massively appreciate the thumbs up, as it makes life easier, and also make sure you subscribe here, or I'll blow that thing that I put in your neck. Now after Starro escapes, Waller tells what's left of the group to return home, but the screams of the citizens being taken over by Starro prove too much for them, and they head back in. Waller demands they go home, but they refuse, and just as she's about to detonate the explosives in their necks, their staff knock her out. We learn in the post-credits scene that because of this insubordination, that a pair of her underlings are forced to look after Peacemaker, who is recovering in the hospital. The two characters placed in charge of him are called Aggie and Holland, and we know from behind the scenes info that the pair are set to star in the Peacemaker series coming to HBO Max. Because of this, I think that they will very much be his handlers, and in the episodes that they'll appoint him jobs which involve saving the fucking world. Now Peacemaker likely wants revenge against Bloodsport, and I actually think that they might have Idris Elba feature in it at some point. Though this isn't confirmed, they are good at keeping things secret, like the Taika Waititi cameo, in which he was revealed to be the original Ratcatcher. Nice little Easter egg there. Now the series is also set to explore Peacemaker's origins. I think this will heavily center around his relationship with his father, who very much helped him to form his mentality. During the scene in which Bloodsport talks about how his dad tortured him with rats, Peacemaker lets off a smirk almost like he can relate to him, and I think we will discover what made this super patriot the way that he is. We know that Robert Patrick will be playing the character's dad, and with the actor being in his 60s, I'm guessing that character will also appear in the present as well as the past. Potentially, the show could be about why Cena hasn't seen him in a while, which is ironic, as normally Cena is the one who isn't getting seen. Because Weasel also survives and Sean Gunn plays him, I can see his brother bringing him into the series too. I think he will be back in some form or another, perhaps as comic relief. Now the movie ends with the squad taking down Starro, and it very much feels like a team effort. Although it was hilarious how throughout the movie that polka dot man saw his mother wherever he looked, and this made Starro appear as a giant middle-aged woman to him. Sadly he's killed, but he does become a superhero in his final moments, which we learn is what his mother wanted him to be. King Shark chews Starro, Harley jumps into its eye, and Ratcatcher 2 swarms the monster with memories of her father rattling through her mind about how if rats have a purpose, then everyone does. Waller awakens, and Bloodsport threatens to unleash the data from the drive to the world if she tries to kill him, and because of this, they're let free. His daughter sees him on TV, which she isn't watching on a watch incidentally, and we end the movie with him petting Ratcatcher 2's rat, showing that he's finally managed to confront his childhood fear. Now where the DCEU goes from here is going to be very interesting to see, but I really hope that the movies are this good going forward. This is one of my favourite comic book films in a long time, and it shows that DC can be amazing when it's not trying to mimic Marvel. If all the studio is aspiring to be is in line with them, then they'll always fall short, and I'm glad they just did a balls to the wall action movie that doesn't pull any punches when it comes to character deaths, violence and gore. However, the movie also has a heart, and whereas Marvel tend to downplay their emotional scenes by often ending with a joke, this film allows the dramatic moments to play out so we can see the true sincerity in the scenes. So many of these characters are incredible, especially Ratcatcher 2, who I think is the standout here. Her relationship with King Shark feels very similar dynamic wise to Killer Frost and the character in Assault on Arkham, and it just adds so much that I think really elevates the film. Margot Robbie also delivers her best performance as Harley Quinn, and she adds so much more to the role here than we've ever seen from her before. Idris Elba does a fantastic job of leading the cast, and also leaving his mark, and shoutouts Joel Kinnaman for finally getting to show us what he can do with Rick Flag. Everyone is fantastic, and it's a testament to James Gunn's directing skills that he was able to balance the tone perfectly as well as the action and comedy. It's a movie that the more I think about, the more I love, and I can't wait to watch it again. It perfectly captures just how frantic the comics are, and feels like one of DC's best films to date. The Suicide Squad was amazing, and it gets a 9 out of 10. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on the film, so make sure you comment below and let me know. We are running a competition right now and giving away 3 MCU box sets on the 30th of August, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the film. We pick the comments at random at the end of the month, and the winners of the last one are on screen right now, so if that's you then message me on Twitter at Heavy Spoilers. If you want something else comic book related to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of Black Widow, which will be linked on screen right now. We went over all the Easter eggs in it we could find, and it's one of our best videos I think, so definitely go watch it right after this. With that out of the way, thank you for sitting through this one. I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace, maker.